can we talk a little bit about the science and why this is not about politics? This is about saving lives and really helping people live quality of lives. Why is diversity so important in a clinical trial? Can we just start there, Zoe?
Absolutely. I mean, that's a loaded question, right? Because there's so many factors that go into it. But if we just want to start at the most basic level, diversity in clinical trials is important because we need to understand that the drugs and devices that are coming out into the world are actually safe and efficient for all people who may eventually have to use them, like point blank. That's the most basic reason. Now, we do understand that, there's a lot of thoughts about whether or not, diversity means X, Y, or Z. And what I like to say is diversity means a ton of things. Intersectionality is a real thing. We're not all just fitting in one box. When I speak about diversity, yes, I am talking about race and ethnicity, but I'm also talking about sex. I'm also talking about gender. I'm also talking about urban versus rural. I'm also talking about, physical abilities versus disabilities. There's so many components when it comes to diversity. And I think that that's one of the things that we don't always agree on as an industry, is knowing exactly what are we talking about when it comes to diversity. And so to me, it's really important that we're clear that diversity means a list of things. Now, when we are talking specifically about what the FDA has told us in terms of diversity, yes, the main focus right now is race and ethnicity. But we know that that is going to evolve and grow out to some of those other groups as well.
Yeah, but just to talk about the FDA guidance in April of 2022, they came out with this guidance that said when we're giving medicine to people, when we're providing treatments to people, we want to ensure that the medicine works on the people that are taking it. And the issue, a very serious issue, was just go back 5, 10 years ago, all the trials were happening and we were testing drugs often on, 45-year-old men, okay? White men, Caucasian men from the Northeast, right?
Okay.
So in Boston, they do a trial on these white men. But what we found is that doesn't mean those drugs that are approved work on people who have different body types, who have different physiology, biology, because there are differences. So now what we realize is if there's a group of people that have a condition, we need to make sure that the medicine is going to work on them, right?
Exactly.
Regardless of your race, ethnicity. And we can't just assume. And so that is so, so important. And what we found, you mentioned this already, that people living in different parts of the country actually often respond to medications differently. People of different race or ethnicity and I know race is there's, like you said, you are Puerto Rican and African, right? So there's all kinds of mixes, but we want to make sure medicines work on everybody. And
Absolutely.
so what is happening in the industry right now to bring more diversity and to make sure that that's really happening?
One of the things that we're doing is we're finally really talking about it. And I think now we're at the point where everybody's like done talking about it, but like, what are we going to do about it? Right.
Right.
We've all gone to all the conferences and heard all the sessions and we keep kind of beating a dead horse, but now it's like, what are we going to do about it? So one of the things that, like you mentioned, we need to make sure that the devices and the drugs that are coming out are really effective and safe for everybody that's going to use them eventually. And so one of the things that we're seeing, obviously through COVID, we saw people had to pivot and shift. So there's a lot of talk about decentralization, right, of trials. So I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. It's been a big trend and it's not moving. So we're going to continue to see that. We're seeing a lot more talk about AI. and machine learning and how to incorporate that into what we're doing, whether it's, selecting sites or having a better insight into what surrounding communities look like on a demographic level. So, looking at race and ethnicity of surrounding neighborhoods, looking at census data and taking that into account when we are creating our recruitment plans and strategies. So I think we're going to continue to see a lot more of tech being integrated into what we do on a day-to-day basis.